Let's now proceed to Chapter 4, the continuation of the SEC Code of Corporate Governance. As you watch this video, please bring with you your books, notes, and the materials that I have uploaded in our Google Classroom. For principle number 10, increasing focus on non-financial and sustainability reporting. Sustainability is the ability of the company to be maintained at a certain level, the ability of the company to exist constantly. Sustainability reporting includes voluntary corporate disclosures about sustainability initiatives, plans, and associated outcomes. The company should ensure that material, meaning essential and relevant, and reportable non-financial and sustainability issues are disclosed. Under this principle, the important points to remember are disclosure of non-financial information, whatever needs to be disclosed aside from the financial reports or statements. Second, the management of the economic, environmental, social, governance issues or the EESG issues of the business. Examples ito yung mga reports and updates on climate change. If you can see dun sa sinend ko na sample sustainability report of the RLC or the Robinsons Land Corporation, on page 8 onwards, you could see the energy and reduction of energy consumption, water consumption, greenhouse gas emissions report of the company in relation to their sustainability. RLC or the Robinsons Land Corporation is one of the leading real estate developers in the Philippines. Then third, there must be disclosure of the company's strategic goals and the impact of the sustainability issues. So as you can see in the sustainability report of the RLC, naka-indicate doon kung ano yung impact and risks ng mga sustainability issues nila and the management approach for those impact and risks. So before we proceed to the next principle, I want you to take a look at the sample corporate governance report that I gave you. Sa page 6, makikita nyo dyan yung bawat principle and then under nun, may 4 columns. First, recommendations as per the SEC memo and others na optional or supplemented depende sa company. Second, the statement of whether the company is compliant or not. Third, additional information containing links and references supporting their compliance. And lastly, explanations kapag may parts na non-compliant yung company. Yan yung disclosure which is in consonance with the comply or explain approach na nasa chapter 3. So sana maging helpful yan para mas maintindihan and ma-appreciate nyo yung lesson natin na ginagamit at ina-apply talaga siya in actual businesses. For principle number 11, promoting a comprehensive and cost-efficient access to relevant information. The company should maintain a comprehensive and cost-efficient communication channel for disseminating relevant information. This channel is crucial for informed decision-making by investors, stakeholders, and other interested users. Important points to remember: the inclusion of media and analyst briefings as channels of communication, reporting of timely and up-to-date information relevant to investors' decision-making. Example ng compliance sa principle number 11 is the company's website, which contains the updated information about the company like downloadable FS reports, articles of incorporation, notices, and minutes of the annual stockholders meetings. Then under internal control system and the risk management framework, we have principle number 12, strengthening the internal control system and the enterprise risk management framework. To ensure the integrity, transparency, and proper governance in the conduct of its affairs, the company should have a strong and effective internal control system and enterprise risk management framework. Important points to remember: effective internal control system, effective enterprise risk management framework, company size, risk profile, and complexity of operations, functions of an independent or a separate internal audit, Chief Audit Executive, his or her responsibilities and to whom he or she reports, risk management function, Chief Risk Officer and his or her functions. Example ng compliance sa Principle number 12, frequency ng review ng internal control system ng company, attestation ng company na mayroon silang internal audit. And third, information about the key risks that the company is currently facing and how the company manages them. Then under cultivating a synergic relationship with the shareholders, we have principle number 13, promoting shareholder rights principle. The company should treat all shareholders fairly and equitably and also recognize, protect, and facilitate the exercise of their rights. Important points, disclosure of shareholder rights. Yung shareholder rights, pwede nilang i-disclose through the corporate governance manual or through the website, through their articles of incorporation. How the board can encourage active shareholder participation. And then the Investor Relations Office or the IRO. This is needed to ensure constant engagement with its shareholders. Example, dun sa reports na binigay ko, RLC's optional recommendation to comply with Principle 13, the company appointed an independent party, which is SGV, to count and or validate the votes at the annual stockholders meeting. Then, duties to stakeholders. For Principle number 14, respecting the rights of stakeholders and effective redress for violation of the stakeholders' rights. The rights of the stakeholders established by law, by contractual relations, and through voluntary commitments must be respected. So those are the three ways on how the rights of the stakeholders can be established. Where stakeholders' rights and or interests are at stake, stakeholders should have the opportunity to obtain prompt, effective redress for the violation of their rights. Important points to remember, examples of the stakeholders, which we have already covered in the previous chapters. So their common goal is to create wealth, growth, and sustainability. Then the stakeholder engagement touchpoints. Example of compliance with Principle number 14, the company provides the contact details which the stakeholders can use to voice their concerns and or complaints for possible violation of their rights. The company provides information on whistleblowing policy, practices, and procedures for stakeholders. For example, RLC, the Robinsons Land, diba real estate developer siya. So for sure, meron na siyang fixed na suppliers, contractors. And to show respect for their rights, so in the case of RLC, these suppliers and contractors are two of their stakeholders. So RLC provides policies, programs, and practices that address their selection procedures or provide link or reference to a document containing the same, so that their suppliers and contractors would be knowledgeable of their rights. Then for Principle number 15, encouraging employees' participation. A mechanism for employee participation should be developed to, first, create a symbiotic environment, second, realize the company's goals, and third, participate in the company's corporate governance processes. Important points to remember: establishment of policies, programs, and procedures to encourage the employees, anti-corruption policies and program, free communication of concerns about illegal or unethical practices. So example, whistleblowing policies to help conduct the business according to the highest ethical and legal standards in order to ensure na mapoprotect yung whistleblowers against any form of retaliation. Examples, The company has a merit-based performance incentive mechanism or scheme that awards and incentivizes employees, at the same time aligns their interests with those of the shareholders. So kagaya ng disclosure ng compensation structure ng employees. Policies and practices on health, safety, and welfare of the employees. Code of Business Conduct and Ethics, which contains the procedures for penalizing employees involved in corrupt and unethical practices. Then lastly, the principle number 16, encouraging sustainability and social responsibility. The company should be socially responsible in all its dealings with the communities where it operates. It should ensure that its interactions serve its environment and stakeholders in a positive and progressive manner that is fully supportive of its comprehensive and balanced development. Important points to remember: the interdependence between the business and the society, sustainable development and value chain. Examples: disclosure of information on the company's community involvement and environment-related programs. For example, if the company did COVID responses or actions to minimize or mitigate the risk of COVID, then they should disclose such information. So that's it. Let's now answer some of the review questions in our book. First question: assume that the management had determined that its organization's audit committee is not effective. How do the weaknesses in audit committee affect the management's evaluation of internal control over financial reporting? Would an ineffective audit committee constitute a material weakness in internal control over financial reporting? State the rationale for your response. The answer is yes. If an audit committee has weak directors with little financial knowledge and inadequate independence, the management would have to consider that to be a control deficiency. Professional guidance indicates that ineffective oversight by the audit committee would likely indicate the presence of a material weakness in internal control over financial reporting, as it indicates that an essential part of internal control may be lacking. Second question: why is there a need for a corporation to maintain a comprehensive and cost-efficient communication channels to shareholders and other investors? It is needed to ensure that there is timely and accurate dissemination of public material and relevant information to its shareholders and other investors to enable them to make informed decision-making. Define the terms non-financial reporting, corporate social responsibility, and triple bottom line reporting. How do these terms relate to sustainability reporting? Non-financial reporting is a practice of measuring, disclosing, and being accountable to internal and external stakeholders for organizational performance towards the goal of sustainable development. CSR, or the Corporate Social Responsibility Reporting, is the continuing commitment by business to behave ethically and contribute to economic development while improving the quality of the life of the workforce, their families, the local community, and the society at large. Triple bottom line reporting is the reporting on financial, environmental, and social performance. These three terms are commonly used to describe what we define as sustainability reporting. In other words, the voluntary corporate disclosures about sustainability initiatives, plans, and associated outcomes. What factors have driven the demand for sustainability reporting? Factors that have driven the demand for sustainability reporting include investor interest, socially responsible investment funds, and the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. The DJSI, or the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, evaluates the sustainability performance of thousands of companies which are trading publicly. It's the longest-running global sustainability benchmark, and it became the key reference point in sustainability investing for investors and companies alike. Why is there a demand for independent assurance on sustainability reporting? There is a demand for independent assurance on sustainability reporting because such assurance enhances the credibility of the reported information. And this might be information that the management would have the incentive for misstating. Is it unethical for a company to provide a sustainability report but provide no assurance on the reliability of the information contained therein? No, it is not unethical for a company to provide a sustainability report with no assurance on the reliability of the information contained therein. Rather, it is simply a corporate reporting decision. Some companies want to provide reasonable or high assurance on their sustainability reports to lend them greater credibility. In contrast, some companies choose to make only limited assurance or to provide no assurance at all. The only thing that would be unethical would be for a company to knowingly provide false information in its sustainability reports, but this is a separate issue from that of assurance provision. So that's all for the SEC Code of Corporate Governance. For a more realistic application of the concepts that we have studied, you may browse the materials that I've uploaded. So meron dyan na sustainability report, corporate governance report, disclosure of non-financial information, and annual report. Dun sa sustainability report, if aware kayo sa 17 SDGs or the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, so these were for the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. So makikita nyo doon yung sa sustainability report ng RLC, yung SDG targets niya and contributions niya doon. So it's on page 29. Then for the corporate governance report on page 6 onwards, para makita nyo yung sinasabi natin na comply or explain approach. Kung paano ba nila dinidisclose kapag halimbawa hindi sila nakakomply dun sa specific recommendation, and para mas ma-appreciate natin yung sinasabi kong masyadong madaming words sa book. So same, RLC report din yung in-upload ko. Then for the disclosure of non-financial information, so you already know what financial information is. So non-financial example nito ay material related party transactions policy. Then fourth annual report on pages 24 to 29, makikita nyo yung corporate governance report ng RLC. On page 30, the members of the RLC Board of Directors. Tapos sa succeeding pages, makikita nyo yung audit reports, financial reports, if ever curious kayo. So yun, kung masyadong info overload, pwede nyo namang paulit-ulitin ng nood. So i-replay nyo na lang yung parts na confusing. Tapos syempre, additional info lang lahat ng sinabi ko dito. So kailangan magbasa pa rin kayo ng book.